Hello there, friends. Before we jump into it,
we are less than 30 days away from one of the things I thought I would never announce, the Common Cause 1-year anniversary. This coming November 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, you have your opportunity to win some of the greatest prizes, all while contributing to a phenomenal cause, the Purple Hearts Home. This is going to be the biggest event for Pauper Commander. I'm going to do the absolute insane amount of prizes for everyone, so make sure you register at omgmtg.com. Links going live. Make sure you register. I will see you there.
All right, on to the show. Hey, welcome, folks. Long time no see, Chris.
Hey.
For those of you who don't know, catching this a little awkwardly, Chris and I just finished with pre-show number 2 over on the new Patreon. Please sign up and go check that stuff out. You'll get more content just like what Chris and I just did in the future. But for now, so here's the run-up for this. I was thinking to myself, I was like, I know, because I do that. How difficult is it to come up with new concepts for content creation? It's not.
It's no bueno. It is a pain in the tuchus.
So I actually had a dream last night, and I was like, I should do like an actors on actors, so creators on creators type video, type show, type series that gets, myself as a creator and then someone else as a creator this time. And probably best for the first episode is my man Chris, one more game here. So getting us together, talking about the concepts around content creation around, centered around our format. I know Chris dabbles into other formats, and we can get into that as well. But by and large, for those of you out there who are interested in either getting into content creation yourself or just kind of interested, in peeking behind the veil, to see what the other side looks like, and some of the challenges around making content and, kind of creating a lifestyle in a business, if you're into that kind of thing, just kind of getting a view of that other side, because content creators will always give you the rosy external piece, so, or they'll put on some sort of weird mustache or something just kind of crazy. So enough of the intro and rambling and all that stuff. This right here is my man Chris, one more game, omgmtg.com. Yep. We've been buddies for a while. We've been colluding on a lot of stuff historically, and most likely will collude in the future, that sort of thing. So let's kind of get into some questions. So the first set of stuff is really super simple stuff. So how long have you been playing Magic the Gathering? Kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I started originally in the year 2000, where my father knew a LGS in the mall down the way from me, and we went there, and the guy just gave us a giant box of draft chaff, basically, and then he also gave us the Introduction to Magic CD that had the tutorial of the giant rocks and the Visitrix and all these crazy cool monsters and everything like that. He got super hooked onto it. I was 10 years old, so at this point, it eventually went away because Yu-Gi-Oh! Became a thing, and then everyone got, this is not yada yada. And then eventually I started playing again, middle of high school for the most part, in 2005 or 6, around there. Didn't really play any groups. I just played on my own for the most part, and just played Magic online. Then I literally had maybe 4 or 5 crates of cards at this point. Then I brought every single crate to college, and I was in the engineering dorm, and I had the crates galore ready to go. And then turns out everybody played pretty much, because obviously we're all engineers. And it stuck from there. I was playing. Then the group of friends that I have now, when I was working for my last company, literally I was traveling from store to store, and I just randomly was talking about Magic one day. Turns out the people that were in one of the stores, they played Magic, and that was 2010 or 2011, and I've been playing heavily ever since.
And that's civil engineering, right?
Correct. Yep.
Hey, testing my memory on my friend here. Sweet. And of those cards, do you have a favorite one, favorite set, favorite?
My favorite card is Visidrix because it is a 6/6 pink bunny that looks like it's going to murder you. So I'll show you.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Because that's who I am.
Chris is going to show me his pink bunny.
Basically so. Where did that? There we go.
Oh, yeah, that's horrifying.
It is demented beyond belief.
And that is rare.
Yep, it was a rare. It is a 7-drop for a vanilla 6/6.
Was that a starter set? Is that what that was? Starter 99?
Yeah, so that's what it came into, where in the CD, they gave you... It was either a Thorn Elemental, a Rocks, or a Visidrix. And I got the Visidrix. My brother got the Rocks. And I think it's so cool. It's a literal vanilla 6/6 for 7, first off. And now you look at the cards that are this, like, 7 mana is basically you win the game cards. It used to be a vanilla 6/6. That's it. It's hysterical.
There's commons that are cheaper with more keywords. You know?
Yeah, and it's hysterical to what it was to what it is now.
Well, I learned something about Chris today.
Yep.
Okay, now the big one. So you've been playing Magic for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the content come in? Like, what was the precipitating like thing that, it's like, I'm gonna make content. What was that thing?
So about 5.5, 6 years ago, the people that I was working with at Verizon, what we did was we all just got together every single Sunday and we just played Commander for the entire night, maybe like 5-6 hours at a time. We would just play Commander, and then me and 2 of the other kids were like, we'll just play online and we'll just record live games. We didn't do anything. There's really no thought to it whatsoever. We were originally called the Commander Crew. And that's what we did. We just did it for the hell of it. We just played games online, made little short videos, deck techs, nothing too crazy. Eventually the directions of the players, like I said, myself, the one person, and the third person, they all wanted to do their own thing. So me and one of the other individuals, we did our thing together, and then the other person went on their own. And then from there, eventually, I wanted to just like I said, I was just trying to be very, very heavy into it. I wanted to grow as much as I possibly could. So I was doing a lot of content. I was basically trying to make sure I post something every single day. I interact with everyone every single day. But then the other person I was with at the given time, he just didn't have the time to do it. And he's like, I'm sorry, family is important. I don't have the time. I go, no, yeah, obviously family is important. Don't get me wrong. But he just didn't have the time for it. And I'm like, that's fine. I fully understand it. And then we split on our own. That was 2.5, 3 years ago, roughly. And just been on my own thing, just grinding. That's what it is. The biggest thing is I just want to make sure I can get the the biggest thing I usually post up is the new cards that are coming out, so people are aware of what's coming out, because not everyone's going to be really available to see the cards on an instant. And then from there, there's also, I'd like to post little synergies, deck techs, things that are going to make people help out. And then from there, I do a lot of deck building on the side, where I'll generally, for every single set that comes out, I'll try to build 5 to 10 decks, whether it be like EDH or Pauper Commanders. And then from there, share the deck list with people. Say, hey, this is a baseline guide of if you wanted to build this commander, here's an idea of what you want to include. And I do it very heavily as well with Pauper, because that people don't really know the format as a whole. They know what it is, but they don't really know the full depth of it all. And building decks for that, or talking to people about the format itself, and really showing them things that are different, is what really does it. Because for me, the amount of sets that are coming out, it's just too expensive. That's just what it is. For the longest time, my series that I did was when I was in the Commander Crew, was pennies to power. That was what I did. Where basically what I would do is I take a deck that's less than $50, and I would just see if it works. I did not want to spend more than $50 on a deck. I go, your average consumer can basically buy a precon, and that's it. They really, like, your average person can't go out here and spend thousands of dollars. Like, over time, you can buy card by card. But right from the boot, is like, a person's going to go to the store, they're going to buy a precon. That's it. That's going to be their deck they play with. And I wanted to build something along those lines. But then eventually just kept going over and over. And I was like, oh, there's a format that's literally just the commons. And like, you don't need to, like, the whole point of the deck is like you're using the lower costing cards, but you're still having these incredible synergies. But then on top of it, it's all for the most part, like when you're playing a competitive, there's balance. Like, even if you bring in a deck that isn't quote unquote competitive for the format, it can still generally sometimes hold its own. So the overall balance is just far more enjoyable. You're not spending an arm and a leg. If you lose, like, oh, I lost, my $15 deck just lost. Like, you don't feel so bad. Whereas if you were to get a deck that's $800, $1,000, and you consistently keep losing over and over and over again, you may feel bad about yourself. Like, one of my decks is literally $1,000, and it's more so just for fun because I keep adding things as the years progress on. And if I lose with that, I feel a little worse. Like my Tesho deck, that's my baby. I've been like tweaking it here and there. I put more money into it, so like it's money. It's only $300, but the whole thing is freaking foil. It's like hysterical compared to other decks. I feel a little like worse, quote unquote, when I lose with that one because I put more money into it. It's the weirdest thing. Like, you want a return on investment. That's what it comes down to. And the more work you put into something, like monetarily, I feel worse myself. And I feel a lot of people feel the same thing. Like, oh, I just spent all this money and the deck doesn't do good. So you could be like, oh, this sucks. But if you spend like $20 to try something out and it just doesn't work for you, you only spend $20.
Yep.
You're like, hell yeah. Like, you can build a deck very easily. And that's the biggest thing I like with the tournaments I've really seen is like, I try to bring people in and go like, hey, you can throw a deck together for like $20-$30. Like, that's a normal costing deck.
So let's get to the tournaments here in a second. You covered a lot of ground there. So this is how good Chris is.
Yeah, I can talk for a very long time about everything and then some.
So I've got my a list of notes, and he did the type of content that he creates, favorite type, favorite format to play would be
Pauper Commander, 100%.
Pauper Commander, and
100%.
then so there's two questions on here that he didn't get to, but we were about to pivot into tournament, so I was gonna like, so you have, broadly speaking, you've got a very budget centric focus on the content that you're putting out, whether that be EDH or Pauper Commander or whatever it is that you're doing. It's all about fiscal access to playing the game as high level as you possibly can under those budget constraints. And that's what you're looking to do is, kind of show people that not only can you play, with a lower budget, you can also have a badass time doing it.
And that's the thing. I do a lot of teaching on the side for the game itself, and I want anyone who's like, oh, this is really cool, to be able to jump into this and like get into it at a reasonable cost for it, where like you spend $50 and you can have fun with it. Whereas like your like I always say, like your average user doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars on a game. Like your whales will, don't get me wrong, but like people just want to play the game because they find it fun. And with Pauper Commander, and like I said, the price to performance and the overall fun you have with this format is fantastic. And allowing people to do that and bring more people in, that's the biggest thing. I want to expand this game as far as possible. And all the different factors that Pauper Commander allows it to be gives that opportunity. You can see that as the months have progressed. We keep getting more and more and more people. And that's a bigger thing with the tournaments. So that's another reason. Like, I wanted to obviously help raise some funds for charities. But two, additionally, I wanted people to allow to like compete in a tournament without having to shell out like $1,000 for a deck. Well, this way, like, look at my very first common cause. Someone played Cyberman. Like, what the hell is this? Like, it again, that first event obviously was all over the place when it came to things. But just to show the fact that like someone can bring in a deck that like is like completely random but still have fun with it. And that was the biggest thing. Like, they had a lot of fun playing that deck. So even if they didn't win, the biggest part is they were able to join an event, play the game out, and have fun doing it. That's what it is to me.
So since we jumped into tournaments. I knew we were going to go here.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and talk about the tournament segment. So for those of you watching this video at the time of recording, Common Cause number 6 is on the horizon. We're on Monday as we're recording. This is on Saturday in just a few days. So we have had 5 previous Common Causes going back to like midsummer last year.
It was November 11th, 2023.
Oh yeah, yep.
On Veterans Day. Or the day
Day.
before Veterans.
So the original premise remains the same premise. It's a charity. Here I am bumping my bad microphone. It's a charity-based event where proceeds from the tournament go to a charity. You've done a couple over the past year.
It's either Veterans or Extra Life. Those are the two I focus on. The Veterans one can vary from one to the next. Like I've done Headstrong and I've done Purple Heart Homes, which that one's going to be the same one. Purple Heart Homes, giving homes to veterans who truly do need it. But I've also done Extra Life, where I donate funds to children's hospitals in the area. Mine's through Boston Hospital to help like the funds with that one.
Sweet. Now, okay, let's talk business. Let's talk a little business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for those people, because this is about the aspiring content creators out there who are looking at your example, who are trying to mimic what you are doing. So whether that be the veterans groups or Extra Life, you have an event in your head. For you, it's tournaments, but it could be somebody just doing a special 24-hour stream or any number of things typically associated with these types of events. What's the very first thing, if you want to have a charity event, that you have to do logistically to get set up?
You got to establish the actual baseline of logistics of like what community are you going to be donating to, what community are you going to be interacting with, how many people do you want in the event itself? Do you expect a lot of people to do it? You got to make sure you have consistency of promoting the game itself. More often than not, when it comes to EDH, I've seen it's very easy to gain people into that. With Pauper Commander, because again, the cost associated with it can be a little more difficult to gauge a lot more people, because again, the format's also a lot smaller. So allowing people to come into the games themselves. You want to find ways to entrance people to do the events, and also really say, hey, you have this opportunity to win great prizes, but you're also doing good at the same time. So it's like a double win. I'm trying to instill that into a person, like, hey, you're doing good by joining into this event. You're not just sitting here playing a game. You're helping out, which is huge. Now I know a lot of, because there's an infinite number of charities that could be involved. Pick your poison, as it were. So I've seen people interact with local chapters, getting a specified donate link for that chapter and engaging with it in that way. I've seen people collect money through the event and then write a physical check, to, not that people use checks anymore, but the concept is there. Issue a payment, that way. What are the preferred methods for you? Is there any record keeping with that, or so I keep everything on the back. Anything I just make sure I have through my backend systems, where I make sure I track everything. Because on a business aspect, it's all tax write-offs. So all the things that you donate will be a tax write-off. So that's also in one aspect, it's a good idea to do, because if you're just taking the funds in, you have to pay a lot of taxes on those items, because obviously it's an income. But on the back end, you're donating half of it. So in one sense, it washes itself out, because the money you're taking in is the money you're putting out. So you're helping out with that. So there's always something from there.
Consult your tax professional. This is not legal advice.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not like you have money just disappears.
Yeah.
But I just feel that it's, you want to make sure you find the right thing and keep track of every single thing. And a lot of the things as well that I do, I make sure I have the links for donations on my website as well. And I have it consistently posted up as my Twitch channel goes. So you can always get more donations as the year progresses on. The reason why I chose Extra Life is because they've already done things with Wizards of the Coast. They've done the secret layers every single year for the last like 4 years.
Yeah,
So that one, the reason why I did that one. The reason why I did the veterans one is a lot of my friends are veterans already. Like it's just how I've grown up. A lot of my friends have been veterans of the Army and a couple other branches and whatnot. Additionally, from there, what I'd like to do in the long term, like from like retirement wise, I want to just buy a bunch of properties that are completely naked and build little tiny homes for veterans. And that way they have places to stay, because the way that the government treats the people who protect our country, many choice words, will keep it on the down on that one, because the veterans deserve way more than they get. That's what it is. And I want to make sure that they get what they truly deserve, because if you can get shot at, you should get whatever the hell you want. That's my 2 cents.
I mean,
that's what it is.
super ambitious, super needed, love it. So you mentioned it. So everybody, okay. So my friend Chris here, he's not going to give me every single financial detail, and I've never expect him to do so. But the fact that he's been so forthcoming in, like, if you're setting up these events, there's definitely some things that you need to pay attention to with regard to tax obligations, legal obligations, that kind of stuff. And he, in a very, brief way, kind of summarize that your situation will vary based on your state. So that's why we don't want to get too particular, because, well, quite frankly, it might not be helpful for you where you live. Yeah. So that said, some people, there's a variety of like structure. So we'll come back to the tournament stuff, because I want to talk about the tournament too, but I want it to be its own, like, its own thing. So for myself, so I was in a very similar situation to you, where it was a small friend group over COVID. We played a lot of heavily competitive EDH, and we started up a channel, and then I was the guy with the initiative, and then there was another guy who knew all the other people, and then we had a couple of people that would we had the brewer spirit, and then the net decker. So I was the one putting in the effort for everything, and well, that all kind of fell apart, and I was left doing all the stuff, holding the bag. The transition from cEDH to cPDH kind of helped that along, because as I was not focused on cEDH anymore, their enthusiasm waned as well, which is, I mean, it's fine. People do what people do.
Yeah, it is what it is, kind of thing. Yeah.
But for me, like, we did one charity event where we were basically had a direct charity link, and we were selling play mats that were all the proceeds. We had I got it around here somewhere. It was an art commissioned by well-known internet artist, and Beyond the Machina is who it was, for all of you out there. So yeah, setting up that was, I never did another one because it was a huge pain in the butt, and I just didn't enjoy it. I enjoy the charity work, but I never enjoyed the logistics of setting all of that stuff. But plus, formulated an LLC in my state, packaged everything up underneath that, and just doing the business related stuff associated with that is just not my favorite thing to do. So as the tryhards transitioned into the common connoisseurs, my need to be in those projects socially kind of waned. So that allowed me the opportunity to kind of step back and not really have to worry about business anymore. Because as a content creator, YouTube's really flexible in the fact that you can be an individual, Yeah. So stepping back away from all of that highfalutin structure, because I too had dreams of, like, doing the Mr. Beast thing, creating a team, driving content, having all these people, contributing to a channel and all of that stuff. And Well, people are fun, right?
Yeah, seriously.
So, all right. So, regarding your content specifically, so how many days a week do you stream?
I stream 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm
Yeah.
going to be eventually streaming on Wednesday. So I'll do sporadics throughout the month for Magic the Gathering Online because I'm also an ambassador for that. I will be switching it to Wednesday with the other ambassadors, and should be streaming on Wednesdays around like 9 or 10 Eastern. That's still up in the air depending on where it's at.
Perfect. So, is your preference live streaming versus video?
And it's 50-50, in all honesty.
Mhm.
There really isn't one or the other in the more sense. It's I literally post up my live streams on YouTube. It's more so that the games themselves only get a couple hundred views on YouTube because again the format is so small. It doesn't really gauge a lot of views. Doing deck text give a lot more views, but again it's Pauper Commander versus EDH, so again doesn't really draw in a lot of people. But then doing the deck tech videos takes a little more time to do.
Mhm.
And it's not really like a laziness factor. It's just a lot more work that because you want to make sure you put every single card posted up. Now, obviously, you can just do a quick little like, here's a 60-second video of how to build this commander. So I did that for a while, and it did gauge a lot of views. So the thought is to put that back in the rodeo and just do quick little videos on that.
Well, this is a great point too, because there's various types of content. So there's the long form scripted stuff, which the Loberts and Ankylosaurs and all of that engage in. And to your point, which I kind of share, the sentiment is like, that is a lot of work. You got to write a script. You got to get all the looks and the feels and the pieces and build all that into video and then do a voiceover and then all of that. And there's a reason why those guys put out stuff like once every month, couple of months kind of deal, because that's really production intensive versus the live stream. Chris and I are very social people. So being on a live stream makes sense because now you're personally interacting with the community members that you're serving. So I wanted to kind of like hash out like what that ecosystem looks like, because some people do all of one thing, you know, whether that be the live streams or the long form, what have you. Some people do a blend. You were sitting there talking about doing like some shorts type material, you know, and promoting that stuff, all of which, and if you've been keeping up, is a lot. If you all the little pieces, effort here, effort there, you know, your day fills up really quickly on top of having a full-time job, on top of being a parent, you know, all of that stuff. So the last part about like specifically the content itself, like, do you have any like planning or here's a softball. I presume that you have been doing it long enough that your planning cycle is relatively small. If you're like me, I come in like 15 minutes prior, do a systems check. Okay, boom, everything's good. Hit the go button and let it rock.
So for my live streams, I pretty much have that down pat because I said I've tweaked all the different things I stream upon. So I basically know how to get that set up properly. When it comes to the posts that I do on Instagram or like sometimes Twitter, depending upon the days or whatever, I have everything like framed out. Like I want this is my template for this is my template for that. That way I can just auto load into it. Because I only have my phone at work. I don't really choose to have like my MacBook or my iPad. I have to make sure I figure out how to load things onto onto the phone very quickly and expand upon that. You know,
That's tough.
Then I do a lot of giveaways with people or like collaborations with other channels. I do that quite a bit. So then now we got to keep talking to them every single day and figure out what their collaborations are, what I want to post upon there. When it comes to the recorded content, because I more often do Magic the Gathering Online or for my recordeds, because I do like Pauper Commander for the live and then use the live as a record, but I also do record games through Magic the Gathering Online, whether it be Modern, Legacy, Pauper, or anything like that. And then do those recordings. I got to time those out because that can take like 3 hours out of my day to play. Like, because I said you don't want to have like 1 or 2 games. You want to have at least a few of the games so people can like figure out, oh, okay, I like this deck. but then that takes like 3-4 hours out of my day of just recording it. And then you got to edit it, which usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour for just a quick edit, export. That's another hour to have it exported.
So with your current offering, between the live streams and stuff like that, well, the collaborations, all the back end work, how much time are you putting in per week at current?
Like 60 to 80
on top of like working.
Yeah.
And this includes the weekend and all of that stuff.
Yeah, usually what I'll while I'm working my little shifts in between customers or whatever like that, if I have the time, I'll do something like that. So that could be about, let's just say, the accumulation of even my break, an hour during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get home, spend time with the fam, or depending on what the schedule is. And then she goes to bed around like 9, maybe like 10 in the latest. I'm up till, let's just say, 4 sometimes, but I can be working anywhere from like 7:30 to 10, like 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also have my days off on Thursday and Friday where I spend time with the kid. So while she takes her nap or in between different things, then I'll do that as well. It's just doing a lot. And like I said, I even just opened up another online store. So there's even more to add on to that. It doesn't stop.
So the reason why I bring this up is that when it comes to content, you have to find the content type and style and all of that matches your lifestyle. For you guys out there that don't know Chris as well as I do, he's a freaking hummingbird.
Yeah.
Beep, beep,
Don't
beep,
stop.
beep, beep, don't stop. Right. So his output matches his energy, whereas this old man. Now I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Don't get it twisted, but and I go to bed at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like I like to come in. I do pretty set times of recording. My videos usually last an hour, and I'm pretty good about keeping it at an hour. Now, Chris can agree with me. Out of that hour, we'll probably get 10 or 12 minutes of watch time. Am I right?
Yep.
Am I right? Yep. Yeah.
Just watch that thing go, ooh, PK! Yeah.
So there's a lot of consideration. So doing the live stream stuff allows for volume, right. Because it's just click button, go. And if you have some decent lighting, which I've got this stupid lamp in the corner here, but if you got some decent lighting and an okay, this is my $30 Chinese webcam. Yeah, you can do okay. OBS is free. We're using Discord to do the voice and video and just capturing it on OBS. Anyway, that's for another time. We can get into production stuff. So you briefly covered this. So that's the content, like back in, with charity and live streams and connections and networking and all of that. So that's the backside of content. What about the front side of the content? Like, in your mind, who is your target audience? Like, who is the person that you were trying to reach?
People who don't know. That's the thing. Like, the people who don't know the game as well as they want to, in a way. Like, the biggest thing is, like, when it comes to Pauper, people don't know the format. I want to teach them the format. Some people don't know how to build a deck. I want to show them how to build the deck. Like, it's people who just, like, it's weird to say, like, who just don't know what they want, but they want to learn about it. Like, their baseline is, I want to learn about this card. I want to learn about this commander. I want to learn about this format. And then from there, be expansive upon that thought itself. Whereas your usual person's like, oh, we're just playing these cPDH games. We're just going to run through it real quick. Yeah, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the direction of which that I like as a main focus. When you're in the front end, once you post the content, you got to make sure you're interactive with everyone. I'll post a card on Instagram like, hey, this card just got previewed today. And then people are going to react to it. Some posts will have maybe 1 or 2 people comment it. Some will have like 100 people comment it. you got to make sure you're interacting with these people too, as opposed to just like throwing it up there and doing nothing with it. If you just sit there and throw it up and do nothing with it, you're not going to get any engagement. People are going to assume you're just posting as a bot style, and then build from there. You have to keep that going. You can't just throw it up for no damn reason. That's the back end. So just throwing it up, making sure things are consistently done, do it from there. But then you need that follow up. That's what it is. If you don't have a follow up, you're gonna go nowhere. You know. In that regard, anyway.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good on the front end. Okay, so wow. So that covers how you engage with your audience as well. Man, you were just knocking through these things. Chris, the professional, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think makes your content unique? Here we go. The personal assessment, the introspective look.
The biggest thing I see as unique is most people aren't doing anything about Pauper Commander. In all honesty, there's not, like, for the creator-wise mindset, there's a lot less people doing competitive Pauper or Pauper Commander in general than there is in the entire game. The channels have slowly built up, like Lava, Ank, the common theory peoples, common connoisseurs. Like they're there, but they're not as expansive. They're more so, a lot of them are focusing solely on just Pauper Commander and leaving it within Pauper Commander. What I want to do is take Pauper and then expand it further.
Export.
Like what? Yeah. So what I've done, like when I play Oathbreaker, for example, I'll build Pauper Oathbreaker decks. When I'm going to events, I'll play a competitive Pauper deck when I'm facing other EDH players. This way, they're like, "Oh, that did pretty good." I go, "Oh yeah, it's all commons," and people are like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "Yeah, this whole deck is commons," and it spikes that interest of like, "Well, wait a minute." Like that, you could have a competitive aspect to it. You could have a deck that costs $9 and still compete really, really well. Like, it's stuff like that. It's really, really cool, and that's what I feel is making it more unique to my content. Is I'm trying to bridge that gap where I feel like most people in the community of itself don't focus on that. They're just focusing on the content of the format itself. Like Lauber gets his games in, he does a little bit like deck text and whatnot, and gets a lot of more deeper in the overall format, where it's like this does that does that, more like analytical baseline. Common Theory does random things, they're trying to add more decks to the list, but it's very inclusive, I feel. Where yeah, it's very good information, don't get me wrong, but it's not trying to attest to the people who aren't in the game itself. Like it might dabble like, oh, what's this video? But you don't really know. That's like for me, for example, like when I'm building a Pauper Commander, I'll try to make it a legendary creature, because that way, if I want to play it in EDH, I have that. I can easily do that. Or if someone else like they have an EDH deck, they go, "Oh, I want to build this. I like this commander. Oh, I have to just swap a couple of things around." I want to make sure like we can bring more people into this community without them going, "I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't want to do this. I don't like this." If they have a baseline, okay, this is what this is, you can use that and like, oh, okay, I can do that. If I show people, hey, my Teshar deck, so I like playing it so much because like it's one of those decks where it's like it's strong enough that you could bring it to a regular EDH table and people are like, oh shit, this is not bad. And it's like some decks just do that well, like Malcolm Breaches or Malcolm whatever it may be. Same thing, like those decks do well, and I like that aspect to the game of connecting and bridging that gap to bring more people in.
Say Malcolm whatever.
Malcolm whatever.
I love it. I love it. No, you're absolutely right in the fact that so in fairness,
Correct, yes.
in fairness, so cPDH content is really can be difficult to export because there's a disconnect. So you see this in cDH players, other competitive, so competitive Pauper, competitive EDH. You see this when they come over into the format, that they think that the format is this one thing. Certain concepts can be correct, from them porting over from cDH, but typically they're less concerned. cDH is let's frankly, like it's a list of staples, that you just play all the staples, according
like
to your
90%
color.
of the deck is the same thing, and then the other 10% is your uniqueness. Like
Exactly. Well, there's a synergistic component to cPDH that is non-existent in CDH. So that is the most difficult thing for CDH expats to understand, is that cPDH needs this synergy with the 99. That's how you're going to find the strength of that list. So it's really cPDH content stays within the community because you almost need to be an enfranchised player to understand what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, for the most part, and that's the truth, 100%. So it's finding that it's difficult to just be like, yeah, this is Pauper Commander, come on in, here's how to play some random Viscopa or some random but I think that's the most difficult part that I want to attest to, is expand, try to bring more people in, because we've seen the format grow in the last year alone. The last year, it's gone crazy expansive. All these new people around the country, around the world, they're starting to join in. Whereas just 2 years ago, it was super, super niche.
Yeah.
Now it's not a level of EDH, but it's starting to get recognized by bigger people in the game itself, higher names. It's getting somewhere now.
And so I can speak to this because I happen to know the person that was instrumental in getting that, portions of that to happen. I'm not going to take the entirety of the thing on my shoulders, because I'm not the one solely responsible for it. But that said, I'm the one that reached out to Playing with Power and got those 2 episodes produced. The second one, they trusted me to do it so much that I actually recorded it and handed them the video. The first time they were, overlords watching the whole thing happening. But the second one, they were like, yeah, record it. Give us a basic outline of what the turns were and what the cards were played, and that kind of stuff. Give us the list and we'll put it up. And that's how that second list or that second video came about. That first one, actually, a little side note of Hire from Playing with Power, it's the very first script he ever wrote while he was on that team. So
that's awesome.
Lucky guy. That was a 3-hour game. Miserable. God, miserable. But that was the meta back then. But to that end, just rattling off ideas for any of you out there who are looking for, to become a content creator in the Pauper Commander space, or if you're an existing content creator in the Pauper Commander space. Things that have been really successful in the EDH sphere over the years. Everybody remembers when Puzzle took down a budget CDH event. That was really popular, and it was part of the lore for, a good year. Somebody could organize exhibition matches where you're playing against, maybe not full power CDH decks, or, screw it, send it, right? Putting a Gretchen or Malcolm Breaches or Malcolm Kedis, or insert cPDH deck here into a pod of CDH players and see how it goes. It's the gut reaction from the people out there is like, oh yeah, the cPDH deck is likely gonna lose. And you know what? So what? It might. But guess what? During that process, you're going to see that cPDH deck hang. Right? And it's that.
True. Yeah.
So if they're hanging at 80%, doesn't that tell you something about the smaller format?
That's what it comes down to. It's the faith is there, and we know it's gonna get even bigger as the days go on. So it's just fantastic to see. I just love seeing how it what it was to what it is now, and just the small. I haven't been in the format crazy long, but just even seeing the last couple of years, it's just fantastic. It's
been. I was fortunate that I got in not at the beginning, but near the beginning. When I joined the home base, there was 8 people talking about it.
That's crazy.
That was it. and then from there, well, as they say, it's history. Okay, let's talk about some fun stuff. Tournaments.
Yes.
Okay, so as we previously stated, Chris is about to engage in his very sixth, I was going to say very first, but very sixth tournament in a year's time. Now, for those of you who are interested in following the path of Chris and becoming a tournament organizer, there's a few things that you need to prepare for when engaging in that kind of stuff. And a short list of those things is
register through topdeck.gg and make sure you establish the bracket properly, because that's a pain in the ass. Number 2, get your Discord set up. Also a pain in the ass, because you have to have the main room, the announcement room, the group, the general chat room, and then each individual pod. That's a little fun from there. Then you got to figure out how you make sure, if you do want to stream it, you got to figure out how to properly stream it. Whether it be, so for myself, I was talking to Bobby this morning how I have 2 Discord pages.
Bobby from Sanctuary. Yeah.
Yep, the Sanctuary. Because what I do is I actually have on my desktop computer, I have the main voice chat of the channel, the game that I'm streaming. Then on my MacBook, I have a secondary Discord channel that I can get out of the pod so I can have interaction, talk to people. So I'm doing 2 things at the exact same time. And then additionally, you got to make sure you have a judge, because if you don't have a judge, they are not sanctioned properly. The very first tournament I had, there was no judge, and if anyone's followed, they know how that went out for the very first game. From there, I learned very quickly to get a judge. The last event, one of the judges had to step away, and again, that was a little joyous of when someone said that unfortunately the exact second, the judge just had to step away for a second. But judging is very important to make sure things run smoothly, because like I said, it's not going to happen too often, but you need to make sure you have that judge, because something could happen. And more often than not, it's going to happen towards the end of the event, not towards the beginning. More often than not, the games are also being recorded, so if need be, we can always go back and look at the content to make sure. So again, that as well, you want to make sure you know how to properly record the game so you can then live stream it later on. Also watch the content yourself. A lot of people do want to watch the game and see how it played out for the final run, especially. So again, you got to do that. So again, Top Deck, live streaming, Discord, judging, and recording. Those are the big key things you want to make sure. And obviously, advertising the hell out of it, get the proper price support. Things I've noticed that are a little difficult is finding that right price point for entry. I've had to go up a little bit over the years, but again, the stupid fees keep getting worse. Mm-hmm. That's more so the reason why I've had to go up a couple of bucks, because the fees have literally just gotten higher and higher every single event. But that's
in fairness, the reason why he mentions Top Deck, because Top Deck at the moment, topdeck.gg is the premier TO software. So they have added a lot of features, and with that has come operating fees, for costs. But I mean, to that end, the interconnectedness of Top Deck between potentially between Chris and Bobby and Richest Rags, and there's more opportunities moving forward for these leagues, not the word, tournament series.
I call it series, weirdly enough.
Yeah, but there's this opportunity moving forward to connect all of the tournaments together, so that way players traveling between tournaments can collect points and all of that, and we can
get a spoil for next year, so simmer down there.
Yeah, we no doubt. So it gives Gator another reason to be top player, in another in another thing. So
yeah.
So so the logistics of the event are a lot. So and I'm saying this rhetorically because I know the answer. Chris, are you engaging in these endeavors by yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. Originally, it was myself and Alex from Trivial Encounters. He still does help stream, but the brunt of all of this, it's 98% me, where it's my Discord channel, my Twitch, my interaction. He helps with surprise support. You actually see there's a lot of prize support for this one. Aaron he just sent me a couple of things that he wants to add to the prize support as well. It's more so that I want this one to be a massive event, so that's why I said anyone wants surprise support, you're more than welcome. Like the cPDH guy did fantastic with their edition as well for surprise support. But like I said, most of it's me. Like I'm the ones in all the different discords posting up, hey, reminders, here's this thing, here's that thing. That's the one downfall of this is you got to assume you're doing it on your own. You can do it with other people, don't get me wrong, but you have to make the assumption that you're doing it yourself. People will help you if you ask for help. Obviously, you're not going to have to do everything by yourself, but the brunt of it all is like the timing and system. Like me setting up the Discord, making the back end rule sheet. I had to create my own tournament rules, which obviously you're following the main Magic rules, but you have to still make sure you put every little tidbit in there. We do Moxfield and Architects as of right now. So there's also the got to put the rules behind that. So making sure the rules are followed properly are also a really big thing. So there's a lot of like little tidbits that go into every little aspect of it itself. That at forefront, like my very first event 1 to the event 5, drastic changes. There's still plenty of room for improvement, and I'm well aware of that. But even just seeing the chaos behind the first one compared to the chaos of the last one, like I said, there's only little tidbits that are like, oh, okay, just that little thing over there needs to be fixed. That little thing needs to be fixed. The first one, all of this needs to be fixed. So that is pretty like a lot nicer. It's like I'm still obviously always crazy nervous of like hopefully he doesn't screw up and something goes completely horribly wrong, but that's normal.
So as a player in all of Chris's events, and I this is like a side note. So cPDH.guy did contribute money for this. I'll be playing in this event, and I think it bears stating. Chris already knows this by example because I top forward an event and didn't take any payout money. Should I top or what have you? My intention is to split, whatever I would have won in cash with the other top 4 players. I'm keeping the material goods though.
Yeah, there's so many things I'm giving away.
So
like, this is a dumb amount of things, and it was like we're at 18 players right now. I assume we're gonna get more because we still have a full weeks ahead, and usually the last like 2 or 3 days, a bunch of people join in. But we're like, I'm giving away like if you do like the total math, it's like $700 worth of stuff. That's like between the extra cash prizes from cPDH Guide, from all the cards I have to the collection. I'm giving away special promos for the top 4 place positions. I'm just trying to go off with this, in all honesty. And then last time, everyone dumped their money back into the pool.
Yep.
So it's double top 4 prize now. So when it comes to the cash prize,
so the top player, so first place. Roughly speaking, so 75 from the guide, 50 from Common Theory, so that's 125 plus the 90 in card stock.
Yep.
So that's 200
and then
210 plus the payout.
It's last one was about 200, and then 15 times 24 would be another, not then times 0.6, probably be about another $450
total.
And that's just on top of everything else. So plus the 120. Plus 203 plus 120. You got to figure they're probably getting plus 90 plus another one of those. Those are 40 a piece. That's another 70. So roughly $700 of cash and prizes for first place.
$700. Chris, Chris, this will be the biggest tournament in PDH history.
Trying to do that, yeah.
So you're already there because for context, folks. So the now granted, RIW has the record for the consistent 1K, which thankful to them, especially since I took first last time. Thankful for them that they put that up every year. Now, granted, they've only had 2 events too. So this is Chris's 1-year anniversary, and this cacophony of I was going to say errors. This calamity of good fortune. This calamity of good fortune is precipitated itself into this one event where the first place person is going to be taking home $700 in value. Between cash and prizes. Holy balls.
Yeah, it's a couple things. Yeah.
So, Jesus, man, I'm sweating.
Mhm.
Happy for
Yeah.
you. No,
Yeah.
this is
Because like even the things like the cards I'm giving away is the biggest things. Like I'm doing, where is these, the full play set of foil counter spells from the promo.
mm,
Like that alone are like $20 each, just for that right there. And then I have just so many foils I want to give away. I wanted to be like a little, like, say if you won, you can start to foil your deck out.
yeah.
It's one of those things where people want to do it, but they just like don't want to spend extra money, you know? But this way now everyone can get super foils. And then I found the command tower foil promo. That's gonna be even so second through fourth place gets this. So even that is like a $30 card. Yeah, even that positions are getting like significant things. I want it to be like you really, really want to win.
All right, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Breaking out the weavers.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yep. Ready to go.
Right on. Okay. Jesus, man, I am sweating. We gotta broadcast that. You need to get me an approximate prize breakout for 1 through 4, and we're gonna start broadcasting that every day, leading up to the event. Holy shit, man!
Yeah.
I don't think people know.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like the severity, like that's why I put in all the chats. I put the estimated value for every single card. That was like, hey,
right. But you didn't do a total, is what I'm saying.
I didn't do total.
Sorry,
right.
I'm breaking from script. I'm talking to my man here. You know, yeah. Get a let's do a estimated total. Let's put this thing out. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty crazy.
Okay. So, in these last like couple of minutes, so out of everything that we've talked about, you know, the type of content that you create, kind of your journey of going from how you started making content and how you're now making content, you know, your favorite types of stuff to make, your target audience, the technology, a lot of revealing information about the back end operation and how you're kind of doing your own particular, I don't want to call it a business because that's a legal term, you know, but you know, but you know, your particular setup,
my advanced hobby.
Yes. And how you've got that kind of loosely organized and you know how you do your tournaments, and there was a lot of like business related stuff in there, which I'm super grateful for, because folks out there listening to this who want to get into this type of thing, content creation. I know I didn't have a tutor, you know, I had to learn all this stuff on my own, and I wish I had somebody going, oh yeah, you should think about it from this perspective and do it this way, or set it up like this and get this advantage, you know, yada yada yada. So the last question is this: what is your advice? Somebody off the street walks up to you and says, Chris, with the amazing mustache and buttocks, what do I need to do to start creating Pauper Commander content, Magic the Gathering content? Go.
Just have the desire to want to play. That's what it is for me. It's like, you have to know that even when you're not getting any views, if you truly genuinely love the game, then it's okay. And that's what it comes down. I think that's the root of everything. Like, there's so many times where you're like, oh, I'm not getting any views on this, or I only have 1 or 2 likes on this thing. It's just like, this sucks. But I still love the game. Like, that's what it comes out. Like, take for like the stupid Marvel thing today. Like, it sucks, but I still love this game. And if you're able to love this game and share your love, then you can make content. That's what it is. Like, you're just sharing what you're passionate about, and you work with that.
And I would agree with that, because sharing your love, you need to have, okay, authenticity is the word I'm going to use. So you can smell a fake creator a mile away. They reek, they stink. Everything about them is trashy poo-poo. Now, that said, someone who's got a genuine love, like Chris said, for the things that they're doing, that is intoxicating. Other people start to vibe and jam with that kind of thing, and they'll tune in, you know, for that vibe, that thing. Our friend Ryan has a vibe, has a thing, you know, so people tune in. I think when he was streaming, he's been on a little bit of a hiatus. He had some pretty decent concurrence for, you know, the streaming that he was doing, because he's a vibe, he's a thing, you know.
Sure.
So yeah, that was great advice. Okay, anything else? Of course, we're gonna put this in the description. omgmtg.com. You know, too easy. Like, your mom can remember it while she's sitting on the toilet scrolling through her phone. Oh God, I love you, buddy. Oh Jesus. So yeah, please check out Chris's website, his Google sites that he works so hard on. I can't remember if that was in the pre-show or not. I think so. Maybe not. Go check out his website. There's links to everything that he does, his streaming, his store. You can register for this absolutely freaking bonkers of a tournament that's coming up. Jesus Christ. I'm getting verklempt over here talking about this thing. As you can see, Chris is dutifully writing out the maths for me, because I asked him nicely. So anything for the kids as we depart dearly?
That's like one more game is never enough.
Yeah. Yeah. We need some G.I. Joe themed like berets and stuff like that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, boys and girls, thanks for watching the video. Go check out his content and stuff. Do it because I told you so. I asked you nicely. Yeah, please do it. All right, we'll catch you on the flip. Peace out, guys.